Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to the Spiritual and Irritable Show with life coach Lisa Phillips. Tune in for love, light, and plenty of laughter with the life coach who doesn't always practice what she preaches.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world today. It's a very, very warm welcome from myself, Lisa Phillips, Spiritual and Irritable, from here in Sydney, Australia. Now, we have got, I know I say this every week, but we've got the most amazing guest. I notice we've got quite a few people on the line today and in the chat room, and I don't blame you for being excited, because today we are very, very blessed to have Ed Strachar with us. Now, Ed Strachar is a remote spiritual healer, and believe me, he has got this amazing gift. I worked with Ed a couple of weeks ago where he did a remote healing on myself, and I must admit that I am feeling on top of the world. And if you get the chance, check out Ed's Facebook page, because you will see testimonials from all over the world of people that he has helped just with working with them very quickly. We're talking 3 or 4 minutes, and has really made such an impact in his life. So just to tell you a little bit more about Ed, and then I'll open up the lines and you can have the opportunity to speak to him yourself. His forte is basically helping people at all levels to achieve more than they ever thought possible. Now, he's worked with a vast spectrum of people, from CEOs, military, Olympian athletics, to actually youth at risk. Now, Ed is also an accomplished yoga and I'd say it's early, but it's not. I've got no excuse. He's an accomplished yoga and meditation instructor and an expert on Eastern methods of healing. Now, he's worked with quite a lot of experts over the years to really, tune up his own beautiful talent, and he's tapped into this powerful universal field of energy that allows him to do seemingly miraculous healings and energizations of people in just a few minutes across any distance. Now, with the show today, we sort of set it up so we get the most of the show. I'm obviously going to chat with them a little bit and find out a little bit more about him and his talent, and then we will be opening up for calls. But around about the 45 to 60-minute mark, Ed has agreed to actually do a remote healing, which is brilliant. So please stay on the line for that, and then after the healing has taken place, maybe sort of 10, 15 minutes later, we'll open up the lines again for you to call in and say what an impact it has actually had on you. So please keep on the lines today. Tune in, because it is going to be a really, really amazing show. So, Mr. Ed Strachar, welcome to the Spiritual and Irritable Show.
Lisa, really a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Absolute pleasure. Now, Ed, I've given a little bit of an introduction about yourself there, but I'm intrigued. I'm sure, as everybody else is. But can you start, for people who are not particularly maybe in the know about remote healings, can you tell me a little bit about how they work and what you actually do?
Well, very simply, you contacted me on Facebook a few weeks ago and said you were a little bit out of it. I don't remember exactly what you said, but the reality is most people often feel a little bit out of it. And, in fact, the complaint that most people have that modern medicine has no answer for is, I'm feeling tired and weak. But their medical tests and so forth come back relatively normal. And with you, I simply tuned into you and asked the angels, and I also tune into galactic energy fields to basically clean, tune, and balance your energy. And I did that simply by focusing on you, even though you and I had never met. You're in Australia, I'm in Florida, but it really doesn't matter where you are. And thus, your whole energy body, and we have to start by understanding that everything is energy. Right? What we call physical is just really an illusion. We call it physical because we can feel it with our hands and so forth, but the reality is we know, and scientists have proven, that everything is energy. So I tune into your energy body. I clear, I balance, clean it, so to speak. I remove all aspects of evil. And evil, yes, does exist. And evil, when it gets on us, it can exhaust our energy. It can throw us out of balance. It can give us bad thoughts, give us negative thoughts, give us evil thoughts, and so on. So I clear all that. All the energies that I work with are aligned with the love, life, and light of Jesus Christ. And so it's not only Jesus, it's Jehovah, it's Melchizedek. It's a whole long line of angels that I've been gifted and granted the pleasure to really work with, which I'm grateful for. And so I can direct that energy towards you to clear you, and then you feel it in a few minutes. And so all of a sudden you feel balanced. Well, the reality is you're all energy, Lisa, and your energy has a spirit around it. And so that is spiritual healing. We remove the dark spirits and the dark energy, and we put in the good spirits. And in fact, if I remember right, with you, you were feeling a little bit weak, and I saw that, in fact, with you, the spirit of your digestion had left. Because the reality is our body is a culmination of spirits. Everything in our body has a spirit. So your thumb has a spirit, your hand has a spirit, your arm has a spirit. And just like a hierarchy in a corporation or a military, your thumb reports to the hand, which reports to the arm, which reports to the body, and so forth. But the reality is your thumb has a spirit. Your digestion has a spirit. Your liver has a spirit. And so with you in particular, you were mentioning your digestion was a little bit weak, and I saw that the spirit of your digestion, the life force of which was depleted and the spirit was gone. Well, I can restore that spirit and energize it, and all of a sudden you felt that. And that's what I do. So, in effect, when someone has cancer, well, cancer has a spirit. We can remove the spirit of cancer, and oftentimes when cancer takes place, people, their energy gets depleted. Okay, so we can remove the spirit of cancer. We can put the spirit of their organs, which is effectively the energy that supplies their immunity system. We can restore that, restore the life force, and all of a sudden their life force comes back and the cancer gets removed. Now, typically that takes several sessions, and that's pretty risky business because oftentimes that spirit of cancer, which is a spirit and it's an aggressive one, will come right after the healer, just like bank robbers shoot at the cops when the cops come into the bank to try and stop it, right? So same thing happens here. So this is not child's play, and it's not for the meek, but the reality is this is something that I'm willing to do, and it's more of a warrior rather than a healer because you're battling evil, you're battling these diseases, and these diseases will attack, and they are live spirits. They are intelligent spirits that, just like parasites, just like predators, they look for prey. And this is in effect how spiritual healing works.
Wow. I mean, to take the listeners back to my own personal healing that I had with Ed, I've been suffering from digestive issues for years. I was even hospitalized for a couple of weeks, and the improvement I felt was instant. I mean, I actually felt a lot of tingling around sort of the stomach area and the intestines and things like that, and, things have dramatically improved in that area. I mean, I almost feel this like I don't even worry about it anymore. It's done. But I just want something you just mentioned there, Ed, interests me. You said almost that, particularly in dealing with people with cancer, that when you're healing, if I heard that correctly, that it almost is aggressive and comes at you. Did I understand that correctly?
Absolutely. Absolutely. When I'll give you a story. A lady contacted me a couple months ago, and she was near suicidal, depression, low energy, and really feeling bad. Well, I saw that she had evil all over her. And in fact, I even tuned in, and I saw that it was from a particular organization which she never knew much about. This is one of those secretive organizations, and when she researched it, she realized that her grandfather and her father were in this organization. But needless to say, she had evil all over. Now, and this is through chat, just like when I communicated with you. I don't talk to people typically on the phone. This evil came right at me. And the way evil comes at me is they put massive, horrifying pictures in my head, showing what they're going to do to me and what they're going to do to my loved ones, trying to get me to be afraid. So this is why, as a healer, just like as an angel, And just like Jesus said, you have to be willing to give your life. Look for those who will give their life for what they do. The love of Jesus Christ is the highest love in the universe. It's higher than the love of a mother, and it's certainly higher than the love of pizza, okay? So when you're willing to give your life, then evil can't scare you because you're not afraid of death, all right? If you are afraid of death, then evil has the advantage over you because they can make you afraid. And But the reality is when you're willing to give your life, then evil cannot scare you, and fear is evil's weapon, always. So watch out for those who try to make you afraid. And so the reality is this evil, as I was healing this girl, and her first name was Carla, evil was coming right at me, and I was applying the love and the angelic energies to her and clearing it all out, but as it was clearing out, it was attacking me. And finally it went, and, that was a 3.5-hour process. This was massive evil that she had. But afterwards she felt clear, and she told me, several weeks later she hadn't had a suicidal thought since. And one of the things evil tries to do is tries to get you to take your own life, and then they try to steal your soul as you die and your soul leaves your body. So this is kind of their master plan. This is how it works. And when you're doing spiritual healing, like I said, this is not for the meek. And it is, I see pictures of Archangel Michael with that sword and a scale to represent judgment or balance, and there is a clear line between dark and light energy and love and less than love. So that's an example, and these spirits will attack the healer, always. So the healer, there's really good spiritual healers, and then there's dead spiritual healers. And it's really so on most die a short life, live a short life, and they die early, and that's why.
So tell me, Ed, you talk about this evil and curses. I mean, for most of us, we don't even realizing that perhaps we've had this sort of psychic attack or a curse put on us. I mean, where does it come from? And, as a human being, what can we do to make sure that we actually put something in place to prevent that, whether it's, do we have to be a little bit more aware of our own energy and protecting ourselves? But, let's start with where does this evil or these curses tend to come from?
Well, it's kind of like saying where do thieves and robbers and bad people come from? That's a hard question to answer. I mean, we certainly know the metaphorical answers, the biblical answers, the fallen angel answers, but the reality is there is a definite force. If you want to call it Satan, if you want to call it Lucifer, if you want to call it the devil, that really exists. There is a concentrated force that is of very high power and extreme high intelligence that will use various things to tempt you, and it will try to please the senses. So usually they come through intoxication. If we get intoxicated, that's an easy way for them to come through. So drugs, alcohol, or even anesthesia or hypnosis are, in effect, intoxicating effects where our guard is down and our mind is off. Another way is through false teachings. False teachings, one of the biggest ones is that there is no evil. Biggest false teaching on the planet, okay, because this is demonic teaching. Because the way the devil gets in is he gets in surreptitiously. And so by teaching you that there is no evil, that's like saying there are no thieves around, so you don't lock your doors. Well, this is a thieves' paradise then. And so this is how they can enter your energy field. And most, I'll call them amateur healers, energy healers, new age people who think there is no evil, oftentimes they come to me as a client because they've got evil all over them. And they say, well, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I never get intoxicated. I said, yeah, yours came through false teachings. And one of the false teachings is there is no evil. And so this is, these are the common ways. Now, what we need to do, not hard, but love is the highest vibration. Evil cannot attack love. Darkness cannot attack light. Light will always illuminate darkness. Love will always illuminate evil. And so when you're a good person and you don't do anything wrong, you raise your level of vibration, and then there's no evil. So oftentimes, but not exclusively, you see really good people. Sometimes they're religious, sometimes they're atheist or agnostic. It really doesn't matter. If they're good people who don't hurt anybody, they don't hate, and so on, they raise their level of vibration to have no evil around. And I can see these people. I can read auras. I can sense when I talk to them on their voice. I can hear that they're pure souls. Now, also, what we have to realize is that these pure souls, evil attacks. right? Just like robbers go after the wealthy. Robbers don't, try to steal from the poor because the poor have nothing to steal for. You steal. Well, evil attacks people of the light. They attack the higher vibrations. They attack the good people. And I'm always amazed, Lisa, and you're kind of an example of this, is that evil goes after the people who are really aspiring to make a difference and kind of beacons of light on the planet. They try to cover the light bulb, so to speak, so that the world stays dark. Always amazed when I pull the evil off the angelic qualities that these people start displaying, and it becomes apparent to me why these people were attacked. It became apparent to me, at the risk of sounding arrogant, but I owe it to the audience to just be true here, why I was attacked. Because it knew that if I came forward with my conviction and my energy, that I was going to awaken and enlighten, and as part of my purpose. So it attacks me. And so, I had curses, I had evil attacks, psychic attacks, and so forth. And for each of us, they occur different ways. For me, it was financial and robbing my energy and so forth. In fact, the thing that I knew, and this was the amazing thing, I had a curse for 10 years. I never heard of curses. I never believed in them, never even thought twice about them. You hear them in movies and so forth. Well, the reality is, every time I would go, I'm an author, every time I would go to do something to advance my career, whether it was write a book or make a business deal or a proposal or whatever that may be, I would get really tired. If I went to read the sports pages or swim or work out, I was fine. But as soon as I would do something to advance my career, I would get really tired and want to sleep for a few hours. Well, after a number of years, it's like, wait a minute, I'm full of energy and I can do this, and not get tired, but as soon as I go to work on that, I get tired. Okay, I didn't realize, but what a curse is basically an intelligent negative energy field, and it's governed by dark angels. And so when people now come to me, I remember a client came to me, and he was from Transylvania, Romania, and this guy was a 19-year-old artist. He's actually a rock star. And he said every time he goes to meditate, he gets really tired. And I said, oh, I know exactly what's happening. Another person comes to me and says, every time I try to or I can help others, but every time I try to help myself and get my own life in order, I get really tired and depressed. Yeah, this is a mark of a curse. This is a mark of a hex. It's like an intelligent energy field that's programmed to prevent you from moving forward in life.
Wow.
So this is kind of what happens. It's what happened to me, and it brought me right to the brink. And the reality is the angels, they don't, just come down and save you. They make you go through the obstacle course. They'll give you a trail of breadcrumbs, but those breadcrumbs are, months apart, and they're far apart, and you've got to figure it out. Because if you want to get enlightened, if you want to get empowered, if you want to connect to them, you've got to earn it. They are just not going to give it to you. And because enlightenment and these kinds of abilities and powers just don't come to, people who read nice books and sing Kumbaya around the campfire. No, it takes real work.
Oh, absolutely. I was interested in you saying that. I had a few glasses of champagne last night. I'm a bit concerned now. I think I'll definitely look forward to this, the healing a little bit later on. Now, Ed, we've got a couple of people on the line. Let's chat to them, and then we can go back and have a little bit of a chat with you. And then, of course, sort of round about the sort of 60-minute, we'll actually do a remote healing on air, which will be fabulous. So let's just put you through to our caller here. Hello.
Hello, Lisa. Hello, Ed. Thank you for taking my call. How are you doing?
My pleasure. And what's your name, sorry?
My name is Shruti.
Hello, and just welcome. Have you got a question for Ed? Just go ahead.
Thank you. Good evening, Ed. I was wondering if you could tune into my energy and pick up anything, or?
Well, specifically, what are you asking? Are you? You got to tell me in 20 words or less, especially with respecting all people's time, so I can zero in and check. Otherwise, this could take 10 minutes, and it wouldn't be fair to everybody else.
That's true. Yeah, I also have that issues. I get tired.
Yeah, okay. So hold on 1 second. Okay, Shruti. You've both got, you don't have any curses, you don't have any hexes, but you have evil spirits and a negative energy field. And here's how they work. what a negative energy field is it attracts what you don't want and repels what you want. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. Has that been reflective of what's been going on with you recently?
Yes, but the tiredness has been there for a while. So.
Yeah, well, right, and I just know you're here for 2 minutes, but the reality is you've got evil spirits sucking, and they're sucking your energy. And a negative energy field is literally repelling what you don't want, repelling what you want and attracting what you don't want, and evil spirits are sucking your energy. And so that's what I see on you. So you stay tuned here for our healing at the 45 or 60-minute mark, as Lisa said,
okay.
and we'll do a process that removes these, okay? And then I will show you what to do in the future to remove them. So does that answer your question? Do you have any other question quickly on this?
No, that's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Lovely. Well, make sure that you continue listening to the show, and then with Ed doing that healing, that can help release some of those spirits from you and have you feeling a lot better. But thank you for calling in.
Thank you.
Excellent. Now, before we just go on to our next caller, can you tell me, okay, so for example, that lady asked you to tune in. What happens? What do you do? Is it just your intent and you work with the angels? And
no.
How do you receive what you need to receive?
Very, very quickly. I used to, I lived in Asia for 10 years, and I studied with many great healers and psychics. And each one had their own method. But now I just tune in and I ask the angels. So I'm not using my own power. I'm not trying to tune in. That would take a long time, and it's based on my ability. Now I just ask the angels, and this is much more reliable and it's much lower risk to me, because if I have to tune into her directly, like a psychic or what we'll call an energy healer, and I'm a spiritual healer, right? But energy healers connect energetically. Well, this lady had evil on her. When you connect energetically to someone who's got evil on them, guess what? You create a path that evil will come on you. And this is why most energy healers have evil on them, and they don't know it, and then they start spreading it to other clients. And I see this all the time. So the reality is now I just ask the angels. And I asked, in this lady's case, because she narrowed my focus, otherwise I have a checklist of about 25 things. But she said, my energy's weak. Okay, so now I know. I checked for evil. I checked for curses. Nope, she didn't have any. I checked for hexes. She didn't have any. I checked for evil spirits. Yes. And then I asked if she had a negative energy field. Yes. I would also, if we had more time, check for negative karma, because negative karma can be debilitating, and negative karma can be cleansed by some of the few people on the planet who have the ability to cleanse that negative karma. So that, in effect, is what I do. So it's really an angelic connection that allows me to do this.
Beautiful. Okay. Let's go through to our next caller, who's been waiting patiently on the line for quite a while. Hi, you're through to Spiritual and Irritable and Ed Strachar. How are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. I'll put you across to Ed. Oh, sorry, can I have your name?
My name is Cindy, and thank you so very much.
No worries. Thank you for calling in, Cindy. And you go ahead and speak to Ed.
Hi, Ed. How are you this evening?
I'm doing fine, Cindy. Thanks for calling in.
Thank you. My question is, could you tune into my energy field and tell me what you see causing the problems in my life? I've got, it seems like I've been under attack for a couple of years, and it's gone from one situation to another. Right now I'm in a relationship.
Hold on, pause. Don't say any more. When you contact someone psychically or someone who does this work, if they're really good, you don't need to say anything or very little. And as soon as you start giving a big story, fake psychics will then logically deduce things and then be able to tell you. So you don't want to tell them too much. You want to let them tune in, and great psychics will be able to tune in. So here, hold on. Okay, so you have got negative karma, you've got evil spirits, and you have got a negative energy field just like the previous caller. So I explained what the negative energy field does. Negative karma means that sometime in the past you did some things that are now coming back to essentially pay you back. And everything that we do in the universe will come back to us. Whatever you do to others shall be done unto you. This is a universal law that applies to the tiniest spider and the biggest, most powerful alien, on some distant planet. It applies to everyone universally. So this is why then, Cindy, you make all the right decisions or you try to do well, and it just seems like there's a negative force field sabotaging you, right? Evil spirits have intelligence. They literally have intelligence, and they can sabotage your efforts as well as weaken and make you tired. And, it's just amazing. When I work with a client, I'll ask them to say, okay, rate your energy 1 to 10. And they'll say, all right, a 2 or a 3 or 4. And then I remove the evil, and I restore their vitality, and then they're, 8, 9, or 10. This is what happens. And now, as well, what you have to know, Cindy, is you can, if you're strong enough, be able to rid this yourself. Oftentimes, the evil spirits make us weak enough to where, at first when the evil spirit comes on, it's like a small monkey and we're a big person. Well, occasionally they're powerful enough where they're like a big gorilla, we're a weak person, but oftentimes that small monkey turns into a gorilla because literally what it does is it saps your energy and it gets more powerful and you get weaker. And I'll give you an example. I used to do yoga at a particular studio nearby my house. And then I remember walking to one corner of the building, and I could feel this very dark entity, absolutely feel it. And the other yoga teachers just acknowledged that, it's been there for a while. Well, what that entity was doing was it was literally sapping the energy of all the yoga students, unbeknownst, and so it was getting stronger, and the yoga students were getting weaker. And, these are innocent yoga students, but while they're meditating and opening up their energy field, which could happen in a church or a monastery or a hospital, it's not particular to a yoga studio, this entity was getting stronger. And so in your case, this is what you've had, and it's effectively like a parasite. Does that help you, Cindy?
Yes. So how do I get rid of this out of my life? I'm expecting relationships, money, health.
Yeah, sure. Look, understand. Well, as you know, we're going to do a healing, and I will remove. In fact, literally, I can, with the abilities I've been gifted with, which I'm grateful for, I could heal a whole hospital of cancer at one time. It's the same effort to do one person or to do 100 people or 1,000 or stadium, literally, because the angels are really doing the work, and I'm using galactic energy fields. So the reality is 1,000 people could be on this call or one person could be on this call. It doesn't matter. And remove all at the same time. And the reality is also, as we'll be posting a recording of this call, Lisa, people can listen to this call and go through the process when I do the healing, and they can have the healing effect and the benefit just from listening to the recording. Now, for your...
Great. I was going to ask you that, actually, Ed, whether, people who listen after the call will still have the same benefits. So that's great to know.
Absolutely. Now, for your own information, first off, this is a rare known secret, and certainly the medical society doesn't want you to know this, but if you have the strength, and strength is the key, because if we're weak and we're down and out, obviously then we can't do much. If we're bedridden, we can't do much. But if we still have our strength, and we usually do when this first attacks, you can, just like if a small monkey or a chipmunk came into your house, you can tell it to get out, and you can grab the broom and shoo it out. Okay, you're stronger than it. Well, obviously, when you're weak and tired and it's a big bear, you don't have that strength anymore, and then you can't do it, and that's when you need to call in a healer. But the reality is when you're strong enough, you can just tell it to go away. Now, for me, by the time I realized this thing was on me and I had these curses and these, evil spirits, I was too weak to be able to do that. All right? It had exhausted me, and my sense is that may be where you're at, too. So I needed help. And very, very few healers have a lot of strength. And these days, there are literally 1,000 energy healers per square mile. Everyone who's taken a Reiki course at the YMCA and paid $19 and took that 3-hour course now calls himself an energy healer. They don't really understand a lot about power. They're oftentimes offended by the concept of evil, and they're offended by the concept of power. I'm an electronics engineer, and we understand in engineering that if you say you have energy, you have to quantify how much energy you have, and that's called power. So if you have light, how much do you have? You have one light, you get 1 watt, you have 1 milliwatt, or do you have 100,000 watts? You have to quantify it. And power is significant because if you've got a bear, but we've got, Godzilla, well, the bear isn't going to be much of a problem. But if you've got a bear and basically your healer has got the power of a raccoon, which most healers do, they're not going to be able to do much. So that's the reality here. So literally I can measure, and I use a scale of 0 to 1,000,000, where Jesus Christ is 1,000,000 in spiritual power, and the power of the evil that you have on you is about 450K. The average Reiki or the average energy healer, Reiki is but one method of energy healing, are about 100K. And the really advanced, sophisticated ones who, tour the country and teach and write books, they're usually about 300K. The evil on you is 450. So none of those are going to be able to heal it. John of God, for example, you've heard of him, I'm sure. He has a power of 600K. Okay, there are about 100 healers on the planet with a strength of 550 or better, 550K or better, and those are the ones that be able to heal you. So we're talking really not many. So understanding power with respect to energy is essential. And at this point, this is probably too hard for you to do on your own, but literally I'll tell you anyway for the benefit of all listening here. When you sense, like for example, typical guy's night out, they get drunk, they go to a strip club. Well, they get drunk, all right, strip club is clearly a low vibrational area. Okay, the evil comes inside their aura in the energy field. Next day they feel bad. And that feeling of bad is like slime, and you don't get it off from a shower or jump in the ocean. Well, if you know it right there, you can raise your vibration, ask God to help you. You can do a variety of things to bring love into your body, raise your vibration, and remove it. However, if they wait 6 months and this evil is constantly getting stronger and they're getting weaker, well, they don't have the power to do that anymore. So, that's but one example of where this happens. And I'll give you another. I got a great friend. His name is Greg, and he's a brilliant healer, a brilliant human being. Well, he came from one of those teachings where there is no evil. And he would go to these big healing conferences. He was one of the guys on stage, and he would do his amazing healing methods and so forth, but then he would always get weak, and he would get sick. And I would test him, and I'd say, Greg, you got evil all over you. And Greg doesn't drink, he doesn't smoke, he doesn't go into strip clubs or do any of the things that would typically bring this on, but he's under this false teaching, this illusion that there is no evil. Well, that's how evil comes into him, and it saps him, and he gets really tired. And then I remove it, and his energy comes back. So that's his confirmation. So, don't feel bad that this has happened to you. We all make mistakes, and we all study geology after the earthquake. No one studies geology before the earthquake. No one studies digestion before they get constipated. They study it after. They study, skin after they get the acne, and not before. So this is how we learn. And Cindy, you wait until the end of the show here. We're going to do a healing for you, and that'll be a recording that you can use. As well, other benefits, if you find the right monk or the right priest of high enough vibration and high enough power, they can remove these things. Now, not every monk and not every priest for sure can. It's only the most powerful with the highest vibration, which means pure intent. They can. Like I said, 550 or above, there's 100 on the planet that can do something like this. So it's certainly not going to be every monk. It'll probably be 2 or 3 monks per country, or maybe not even, that can do something like this. But that should give you some idea. Now, also to give you some idea, yours is at 450K, and I said Jesus is 1 million. Now, that's not the upper limit. Now we're in 2012. The portals are opening. We're 2013 technically, but the sky is opening, and so the forces of darkness are accelerating in power, and the forces of light and love are accelerating in power. Now, note there, I said light and love, not just light. People want to talk about the light. Lucifer means bringer of the light. People say, I'm going to heal with white light. No, light is not the answer. Because light represents intelligence, but intelligence used the wrong way can be used to deceive and trick, okay? It's got to be love, and it's not just love, not just a mother's love. It's the love of Jesus Christ, the equivalent, because Jesus was willing to die for thy fellow man, even though he didn't know them, willing to give his life. This is the highest form of love. Jesus was a priest in the order of Melchizedek. Moses and Abraham and so forth were also priests in the order of Melchizedek. So this is the highest vibration, and it's why me working with that vibration, I can clear all lower vibrations, and there's no doubt in my body, mind, and soul that I can. So when you find these monks, priests, or healers, spiritual healers, who have this level of vibration, they could heal you. But at where you're at, Cindy, you just need some help, and I'm happy to provide that for you.
And another quick question about that. Could you include in that my partner that I live with, because I feel like I'm under just a constant barrage from him. He is bipolar and has mood swings. We can be getting on great, and then
hold on.
Got it?
Stop. Don't tell me anymore.
Okay.
All right, just tell me his initials.
LW.
Okay.
LGW, his middle. Also.
Okay. I'm not going to look him up in the phone book. I'm just tuning into his energy.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, he's got it on him too. Same thing you got. He's got evil spirits, negative energy field, and he's got negative karma. So, and look, what I get with both of you is that you're not evil people. There are people who are just evil that literally, a sorcerer or someone who literally is trying to spread evil and create havoc. But most people aren't. Most people are nice people, and they just have evil that causes them to do things that are really hurtful to others. And they think it's them, or they can't understand why they got so angry or, so offensive and so on. Well, so the reality is he's got it too, right? And that answers your question. Does it help for you, Cindy?
Okay.
Beautiful. Cindy, hope that helped, and keep listening to the show, and you'll be able to receive the help that you truly deserve. So thank you for calling in.
Thank you. Bless you both. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Just quickly, we've got a fellow Australian on the line, we'll just quickly go across and take this call. Hi, this is Spiritual and Irritable. Have you got a question for Ed?
Hello?
Hello? Hi, you've got a question for Ed Strachar?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said a fellow Australian, and I'm in America.
Oh, well, it's coming through as an Australian number, but no, you go ahead.
That's why I was confused. Oh, hi. Thank you so much for taking my call. My name is Heather, and I live I live in Southern Illinois, and I'm very intrigued by this show this evening, and I was wondering if I can get some help from Ed, any insight.
Okay, so just in 20 seconds or less, 10 seconds or less, tell us the root of the problem so I know where to search.
Okay. I guess primarily wondering if me specifically, or probably more like I feel almost like a curse was put on my family, like my whole entire family.
Don't say any more.
Okay.
Yes, get confirmation on that. You do have a curse. All right, let me see. Let me check for other things. Okay, you've got a curse, and it's a Freemason curse. That's what you have. So when I check curses, I check for Wicca, which is witchcraft. I check for pagan. I check shaman, and I check Freemasonry. Freemasonry includes Rosicrucian Order and so forth, and they've got a big book of curses, and most Freemasons aren't even aware of this. But I check all, and the angels tell me it's a Freemason curse. Yes, and they're extremely powerful, and those are typically generational curses, which mean they're on, as you said, on your family and they're on your soul. So as you come back in new lifetimes, you have this curse. And yes, that's what you have. So,
do you know it? I guess it kind of doesn't matter, but I'm curious to know, would that be more maternal or paternal, or does...
It wouldn't be fair to the rest of the audience to go into all of that now. Certainly that is answerable if we had a private session and I had 15 minutes.
Okay.
We could literally find out who and where and so forth this came from. But, that really means me testing 8 or 10 individuals and then, doing further searching and so forth. And that means I would have to go silent here for 5 or 10 minutes, and that's not right.
Okay.
The rest of the audience. But, look, this is not uncommon. I had a Freemason curse, all right? The reality is they curse people who are a threat to them. And, in fact, in these secretive organizations, of which there are many, Freemasonry is just one of them, you take oaths. So they take oaths, and secrecy is part of that. But the reality is there's a fundamental law in the universe that you cannot do anything to somebody else without their express permission. And by taking these oaths, you're in effect, when you break the oath, you're triggering the curse. Follow me? And you're effectively giving them permission to then curse you. So once you get deep and high into the organization, which is the only place you'll ever see the evil, then you see it's evil, and then you want to leave, and in effect you're breaking the oath. Well, then the curse gets put on you. And so this is, in effect, how it works. This is what I had to discover myself. And the reality is, one of my products, Lisa didn't mention, but I am the author of a product called Into the Genius Zone. I am the author of a product called Reading Genius. If you go to readinggenius.com, you'll see my products there. And one of the things that I learned about developing our genius is that we live many, many lifetimes. This wisdom has been withheld from us. It's basically been blinded, been wiped out of the Bible and all of Western religions. However, in China and India and Indonesia, where the conquerors couldn't get to, they couldn't wipe it out there, and so they still understand and know the truth about past lives. And we have many past lives, and in each lifetime we build up a set of wisdom, and then we die and we come back in, and the way our DNA is programmed, and literally it is programmed this way, we forget our wisdom and have to learn to count again. However, listen closely, that wisdom is already in our soul, and we can connect to it. And this is why often you see these miracles. You see 5-year-olds that never took piano lessons and they're playing the piano. You see, this, what they call indigo children, and they have various names for these extremely talented children. Well, these children are tapping into their soul already and the wisdom they had from previous lifetimes. So through a variety of processes, you can tap into your genius, tap into your wisdom, and this is what I did. All right, I didn't study this stuff, but I knew that I had this mastery and this wisdom from previous lifetimes. And by getting tuned deeply into your soul, you can access this wisdom that you accumulated in previous lives. Now, certainly, the educational systems and the government systems, this is not what they follow, and they want you to believe, that you just have one lifetime and so forth. Well, the reality is that's simply not true. And many scholars and spiritualists really understand this now, and certainly the people in Asia, China, India, and so forth, they've understood this for 5,000 years, and they haven't had any religion come bombard them and kill all their wise men, destroy all their books, and then bring what they call their holy book. They haven't had that, so they still understand this wisdom. And it's very well documented how past lives and this knowledge got wiped out of the Bible, and it was all erased. So for those who seek, they shall find. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, it does.
All right. Now, sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but now I gave the previous caller the strength of their evil, the strength of this curse that you have. Remember, a scale of 0 to 1,000,000, your curse is a strength of 650. 650K, which means it was put on by a very sophisticated sorcerer. All right, this was not done by, some guy who read a book on curses that he got from some New Age bookstore. No, this was put on with direct intent to hurt, And I would love to think this could come off in one session, and I hope it does. It may take two, but the reality is it can come off, and I can remove these. At 650, remember what I said, 100 healers on the planet have a power of 550 or better. So at 650, John of God, who has a power of 600K, could not remove this. Right?
Wow.
He has a light table with crystals, right, that raise people's vibration. But I know my curse was 850. All right, so literally only people like Jesus and the archangels who I had to reach and connect to could remove mine. No one on planet Earth here was strong enough to do it that I could contact or connect to, certainly. So, so the good news is it can be removed. The bad news is, yeah, you have it. And if I ask, is this your whole family or just you? No, you're right. It's your whole family. So, look, for the benefit of the audience, maybe you could share why you thought your family was cursed. What was happening to your family that caused you to think this?
Lots, alcoholism, drug abuse,
right.
and then a lot of, say, ailments and, health suffering, mental health suffering,
sure.
People being medicated,
sure.
All, just you name it.
Yep. Look, so here's how it works. The curse is a negative energy field, okay, that allows in evil. And evil gets in and then tempts them with the alcohol and the ailments and weakens them and so forth. So then you have what you have. That's how it works. Yeah.
And two, even for example, just say even greed. Like
sure.
My grandmother passed on, and the death of her just literally broke up the entire family. Just gone,
greed,
split
evil,
up the
right?
whole
so the
family.
Evil spirits. This is evil. This is evil, and people get evil on them, and they act evil. And those naive people who want to think there is no evil, well, I don't know what planet they're on, but certainly they're not here on Earth, because the reality is evil does exist, and the wise prophets have always talked about it. And so you've seen it loud and clear here. It's unfortunate, but this is the fact of the matter. So the reality is, now that you recognize it, I had one for 10 years, and only into maybe the 8.5-year period point did I realize something supernatural was actively trying to work against me. And then I got further confirmation, and then I knew it was, but I couldn't find anyone with the power to remove it. And I found lots of people with pretty philosophies and nice words and, a bunch of, I'll just call them naive healers because we're on the air here, who told me evil doesn't exist. But the reality is nobody could remove this. And, where I was at, nobody I could find. And maybe there was a shaman in the mountains of Peru who could, people like that. But I couldn't find it. I did find one man who helped me a lot. His name was Raymond Grace, brilliant healer, and he could remove it temporarily for like a week or two. And that gave me the light and the space to try and figure this stuff out. He gave me some tools that helped me figure some things out. But the reality is I had to remove it myself. I had to zero in and figure out where it came from, how it came, and I had to learn the truth. And then I had to connect to the higher angels to finally remove it permanently.
Okay.
Beautiful. Heather, I hope that helps. Sorry to cut you off. I've got a lot of people waiting to speak to Ed today, so I just wanted to move on. But thank you so much.
Thank you so much, and I will probably be contacting Ed after this show for further help. Thank you. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you, because that's actually my next question to you there. I've got a lot of people in the chat room at the moment. I've just got a couple of questions. In particular, people are asking, where can they get hold of you?
Yeah, sure. Look, I expressly and intently don't have a website now. I can't handle, this is very intense work. For example, if this previous caller had come to me, she's got this massive curse, right? Now, I talked a little bit earlier in the show about what it's like to combat evil, but this curse, when I remove it, will attack me, just like bank robbers shoot at cops when they come in, right? It will attack me. I've got to be absolutely resolute to remove it, and I've got to have higher power and so forth to be able to do so. So that's just the reality of what this is like. That takes time, and it's not something that I can do for the entire planet. And oftentimes, the sad part is when people have these things, they often down and out and have no money, and they're really, at the end of their chain. I know I was. So, I try to help them as much as I can, but obviously I do charge fees and so forth. So
where can people reach you? How can they get hold of you?
Yeah, Facebook.com/Ed Strachar author. That is my public Facebook page. That's where they can leave me a message, and I can message them back. And so that's the only way that I allow people to contact me at this point is again, Facebook.com/Ed Strachar author. My last name is spelled Strachar. And so that's the best way, and, that's where I can help others.
Beautiful. One quick question, then we'll move on to the healing, shall we? We've got a lady in the chat room, interestingly, was sort of saying about the monks that you mentioned in each country, and she just wondered, did you know who they are in the U.S.?
No, I'm not going to say, okay, Monk Joe, in his particular temple. No, I don't. I can tune in when people tell me, I know a great healer. I can tune into their power, like I can tune into any of these callers and sense what kind of power level they have. But in any temple, I remember I lived in Asia for 10 years, and I would go into a temple, and only in every, say, 4 or 5 temples. And each temple may have, 20 to a couple hundred monks. Maybe there was one monk who was really pure and had really high vibrations and was really pure. And so, you could imagine what that was like. If people don't know, there's a famous Catholic priest named Padre Pio in Italy. And Padre Pio had stigmata, which means he literally had nail marks in his hands. The reality is he had dramatic healing powers. And, that's in all of Western Europe, where Catholicism was born. He was the only one that could do that. And it was he had a lot of friction with the Catholic Church and so on, but he could heal and do some amazing things. So this is not everyone who can do this. And lots of people say, I want to learn what you do. And I say, okay. And then when I start telling them, look, you're going to face the devil. The devil's going to come straight at you. And they back off right away because it's not the, waving their magic wand and being safe and then, people coming and thanking them and bowing to their feet and, like they want to believe. That happens in the movies. It's different work.
Okay.
And I want to say here, just for people to understand, this is really what's going on. It's 2013, okay? The world is progressing, and the world is waking up. And so the dark forces are accelerating their fear, and things like 911 and, a lot of false flags, storms, and things which are actually manipulated by the highest powers to put people into fear, shootings and things like this. The mind control. Mind control is real. Google that term and you will realize that many of the high governments, including the UN, right, employ satellites and things to mind control people. They use cell phone towers. So they're trying to weaken. They're trying to literally program us and create apathy through these airwaves. So this is real, and there's a lot written about it, but you will never see this or hear about it through any major media avenue. So you're not going to hear it through CNN or U.S. News and World Report or anything like that, or if you do, it would just be such a small, innocuous article. So the reality is the dark forces are accelerating their efforts. As well, people like me and others are creating great powers, and the power of truth and love is inconquerable. And this is exactly what they fear, truth and love. These are the highest vibrations. Truth and love are the only two energies that your heart understands. Truth is yin, love is yang, right? The inner and outward force of what the heart is. And we're talking about not the physical heart that pumps blood, but we're talking about the spiritual heart that pumps love. This is a doorway to our soul, and this has a vibration to it. And Lisa, the new currency is not going to be green paper with pictures of dead presidents on it. The new currency is going to be that of vibration. And the highest and best way to raise your level of vibration is love and service to thy fellow man. So what lowers your vibration? Greed, control, manipulation, deceit, anger. those will lower your vibration. Okay, and if you think about the current wealthy, there's a lot of those elements there. And so they collect more of these pictures of dead presidents and so forth and think they have power. But in this transition phase, new currency will be higher vibrations. You hear a lot these days about the law of attraction and the secret. Well, what the secret doesn't tell you, and they don't tell you this, and not because it's not true, but because it won't sell near as many copies. The reality is if you have negative karma, if you have negative energies, if you have evil on you, or like many of these callers had, they had negative energy fields, the law of attraction won't work. You could visualize all you want and create your, board of, how you want big cars and nice houses. No, it will not work. The law of attraction only works if you have high vibrations and really good karma. That's the only time it works, okay? And then you don't need to read those books about the law of attraction, okay? But they're not going to tell you that because it won't sell as many. So this is really important for everyone to understand. So to raise our level of vibration, certainly you can eat right and be nice to people and so forth, but really love of thy fellow man, honor, truth, and service to thy fellow man is what will raise your vibration. And this will raise it a whole bunch. And that's going to be the new currency of how you get what you want without having to hand people pictures of dead presidents.
Beautiful. I like the sound of that, definitely. Okay, Ed, keeping time in mind, we have got a lot of callers on the line, but I think what we'll do, we'll go straight into the group healing that you've so kindly offered. And if there are people on the line who want to stay on the line, I'd really appreciate it if after this healing you might want to give us some feedback if anything changed for you or anything like that. Apologies, there's a lot of people on the line. So, Ed, over to you for this healing session. Go for it.
Okay, so here's what we do. Each of you who are listening has your issues, and maybe it's just you want to be energized, maybe you're tired, or maybe like some of these callers, you have some evil or dark energy. It doesn't matter. All can be healed, and you are the director of your own healing efforts. And in a moment, I'll tell you how you do that. What I'm going to do is amplify your efforts. So, in effect, this is not a situation where a healer waves his magic wand and you sit there with your arms crossed saying, okay, let's see if it works for me. No. You can heal yourself, and if the evil or is too powerful, then a healer like me can help, and I will amplify and provide some power and energy. So here's how it works. When I count to 5, we're all going to take a deep breath in together. In the Latin language, the word breath and the word spirit are the same word. In the Hindu religion, they talk about God is what you feel in between the breaths. And so we're going to take a deep breath in. I want you to feel your heartbeat. By feeling your heartbeat, this puts you into your energy body. If you're in your mind or in your brain, you will actually block the healing effort. Okay, the intellect, the brain cannot feel. The intellect is the center for intelligence. It is not the center for energy. The center for energy is your heart, and it's a doorway to your soul. So this is where healing comes through. This is why love is tremendously healing. It comes through your heart. So you cannot heal from the mental body just like you can't wash your car from your living room. You have to go out to the driveway to wash your car. So to heal your energy body, you have to go into your energy body, and we do that by taking a deep breath in and sensing our heartbeat. You cannot think and sense your heartbeat at the same time. So by breathing in deep and sensing your heartbeat, you're now in your energy body, which when you wake up or go to sleep, you naturally pass through as your mind goes off. So keeping an empty mind here is the most powerful state for energy to come through. Then what you do is you picture yourself already being healed, whatever that looks like for you. And you thank God for healing you. Now, if you're an atheist, you can thank the universe. I had one person who didn't believe in the universe. He didn't believe in God. I said, do you believe in gravity? He said, yes. I said, thank gravity. Gratitude towards a higher power. If that's Jesus for you, if it's Buddha, if it's Muhammad, if it's the universe, or you want to use the word God, it doesn't matter. You thank God or the universe, whatever, substitute your word, for healing you. And if it's your anger you want to be healed of, or your alcoholism, or your curse, or whatever, you picture and feel and assume, and this is a leap of faith here, you assume you're already healed and thank God for healing you, because then when the energy literally comes in, you assuming you're already healed will actually just confirm that and clear out what's in the way of where you want to be and where you were. So that's a leap of faith, but in all books on healing, in all holy books, they talk about assuming you have already, and this is a leap of faith that we all have to take. So the mind will reject that. So the mind will say, prove it. But the mind is not what heals, and the mind will block the healing. So I say this in particular for those who want to think and intellectualize this. That will not help you. And those people will not feel the healing power, but those who realize and go into their energy body, assume they're already healed, and thank God for healing them. And one thing you can do to accelerate this is literally to feel a rainbow coming through from the heavens, through your body and connecting you out through your feet to Mother Earth. So literally connecting you from Father Heaven to Mother Earth, and you're in between. So, very simply put, I am going to count to 5. We're all going to take a deep breath in together and hold it for about 10 heartbeats. Now, before we start, if you can have a glass of water ready, get a glass of water, because I'm going to energize the water that's in your body, and when you drink a glass of water, it's going to be a catalyst to energize and interact with the water to start a reaction, and that's what you will feel. So if you don't have a glass of water now, get a glass of water. Most of us are 85 plus or minus a few points % water, so that is the biggest and most dominant part of our body, and water has a dramatic healing effect if it's programmed right. Water can also carry negative memories and negative energy, so we want to change that. So with that, again, on a count of 5, you're going to take a deep breath in. You're going to hold it. You're going to sense your heartbeat, quiet your mind, and silently, not saying it with your mouth and your head, but silently from your heart, you're going to thank God for healing you. You're going to picture yourself already being healed. And in fact, another thing you can also do is just feel darkness inside your body or around you turning into love, life, and light. Okay, so with that, we will begin. I'll count. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Breathe in. Now, I will go silent here for a few minutes. Okay, done. Drink. So, for those of you who want to give thanks, it's thanks 3 times to God, the angels, and then the earthly servant who happens to be me in this case. So now, generally speaking, it'll take 10 to 15 minutes for you to realize the full effect. This is very subtle energy. And so wait 10 or 15 minutes and we'll take some more callers, Lisa. And in between, you and I can talk about various things, one of which I will tell you with respect to healing, hospitals, false teachings, and what's going around the world right now. So you tell me. What would you like to talk about?
Absolutely. One of the things that actually I wanted to talk about a little bit, we've spoken a lot about perhaps sort of the evil and the negative side. Now, there's a lot of people who are interested in remote healing, in particularly because they may be sick, whether it's cancer or some sort of illness that they've had for a long time. Now, can you tell me what you do to assist in these situations?
Sure, very simply. Okay, just had a patient in Israel. Had 4-stage breast cancer, okay? But it doesn't really matter if she had 4-stage breast cancer, if she had HIV, or even if she had a common cold. The process is not that much different. What I know is that cancer has a spirit, okay? And because it has a spirit, and this is spiritual healing, not energy healing, right? I know I have spiritual authority and spiritual power. I can remove that spirit, and I absolutely know that. In fact, I know there could be 1,000 people, right? And I could remove 1,000 people just with the same effort as one, provided, of course, we're all in sync like we are on this phone call. Now, and this lady was depleted of energy and life force. So I removed the spirit of cancer, and her spirit of cancer had a force, a power of about just under 500K. All right, it didn't all come. When I removed it the first time, and I tried to, it came down to 90K. Okay, so we removed most of it, but not all of it. Well, this lady had never heard of me and was just referred to me by her doctor, so she didn't really believe what I was saying. So we had a second session 2 days later, and the cancer had already risen and strengthened to 250K. I could measure it. And I knew that was because she wasn't really sure if what I was saying was true or not. She wasn't really sure to believe me. Well, I explained this to her further, and she was a very intelligent, bright lady. And so she acknowledged that to be true, that she wasn't sure how to trust me. I'm just a guy on the phone to her. And then I went through and I explained to her that really I just amplify her efforts, and it's really up to her to heal. And I can't do anything, the angels can't and won't do anything unless she's willing to heal and go through the steps. And so she understood that, and with that, in that second session, we wiped it out to where the cancer was now down to 10K, which is like a pebble instead of a boulder. Okay, so it was almost gone. I called her for the third session, and now her voice is back. Her strength is back. You hear the energy on the phone. She's talking normal. She's no longer this weak person. She still had the symptoms, the breast mass, and some of the pains associated with it because the spirit leaves, but the symptoms, the physical part of any sickness, takes a little bit of time to either grow or disappear. Now, what I did with her and what I did with this group right here, albeit this group was a little bit more abbreviated, is I restored the life force and the spirits into her body because in her case, as in most people with serious illness, the life force, the spirits of their organs, and our organs are our batteries, liver, kidney, gallbladder, and so forth. Those are our batteries that we create energy. And what we have to know and realize is that we not only create energy with those batteries, but we sap energy with the brain. So people who are too mentally intensive, this is why they get exhausted. The brain uses more oxygen than anything else in our body. So with that as well, what she had to understand was that her body had the intelligence to heal itself, right? Anyone who researches finds out that cancer cells, or what really is mutated cells, go on through the body throughout every day and every person, and most of the time we have the intelligence and the energy to suppress that and correct that, right? Our immunity system does that without us even knowing it. And it's only when our immunity system gets weak or our vibrations get low enough, we get weak enough, that we become susceptible and our body doesn't have the strength to overcome that again. So what I knew and explained to her and what I explained to everyone is your body has the ability to overcome. It has the intelligence to do this. And I'm just going to re-energize her and remove the spirit of cancer. And as I said before, when I removed that spirit of cancer, she had an evil entity on her. This is not something the doctor could see through any medical test. I could see it. She had an evil entity. And when I removed that evil entity, it flew right into my throat. And I could feel it. It was like a snowball. And it took me literally a few days or a week to remove that. And I had to have another healer work with me and remove it and so forth. And this is evil. So it could hide itself and do a variety of things. And the other healer that I worked with was actually that guy named Greg, who I mentioned before. he could see it where it was trying to hide from me, and it was trying to basically bring cancer onto me. So that's why I say this is not light work. And I charge a fee for this because this is not something that, I readily take on for just anyone, and so on. So the reality is, it took me about a week to remove this spirit of cancer from me, but the spirit of cancer had left her. And she now understood this principle. Her life force is restored, and so now, as long as she stays faithful and so on, her physical symptoms will start to get better, so to speak. So this is the process of what happens. I'll give you another example. Football player banged his knee. Okay, one of the things we know is that when we go through trauma, this is when the spirit leaves. So a drinker who drinks too much, the spirit of his liver will leave. In this case, the football player banged his knee. He went through an operation like most football players go through, and he was a collegiate player. And doctors told him 8 to 10 months to recover. Well, I tested and tuned in. The spirit of his knee had left. Well, I restored the spirit of his knee and increased the vitality, the life force, the energy of his knee, and within 3 weeks, he was back to 90+%. Not 100, but 90+% in 3 weeks as opposed to 8 to 10 months. So this is what happens. Body goes through trauma, that spirit of the area, the life force of the area leaves. Now, I did this all remotely. I never touched a guy just talking or chatting by phone. The reality is what I know and what he now knows is that his knee and the spirit of his knee have the intelligence to repair his knee. I don't. Certainly the doctor doesn't, and no drug has the spirit to repair his knee and all the cartilage and tendons along with it. But the knee does. His knee does, and it knows exactly how to repair it. It needs to be reinvigorated and energized, and that's how this works.
Wow. It's I find it absolutely fascinating. I mean, I'm a huge believer, like you were saying, particularly in 2013, the way that more of this sort of vibrational stuff, and you don't have to actually necessarily be anywhere near the person to actually make a difference, whether it's sort of healing or prayer or anything. It's totally a huge blessing that we have people like you that can actually do this stuff. I mean, it can make such a difference.
Right.
Ed, just again, can we put you through to a couple of callers? I'm really keen to hear, in particular, we've got people on waiting online, how have they found the process? And
Great.
Beautiful. I'm just putting you through now. Hi, this is Spiritual and Irritable. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, fabulous. We're here with Ed. We're just interested to know, did you take part in the healing earlier on?
Yes, I did. I'm very grateful.
How are you?
I didn't have any... Huh?
Sorry, you carry on and chat to Ed.
Well, it just so happens that usually I don't get sick, but over the weekend I was run down. I don't know what's wrong, but I'm glad this happened, this show, because it's opportune. But I didn't have a question, but it's a very fascinating show.
Oh, beautiful. Oh, thank you very much. And, hopefully, by having that healing this afternoon, that you'll actually start to feel a little bit better as well. Is that right, Ed?
Yes. What's your name, sir?
It's Steve. And by the way, Ed, let me ask you this. If we go back to the archives of today, can we still do this for any other ailments or issues? Will it still have the same power?
Okay. And you're breaking up a little bit, but if I heard you right, you asked, do various ailments have different powers? Is that what I heard?
No. What I'm saying is, if I have an issue in the future, can I go back to the archives and redo this? Will it still have the same power? Okay.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, part of that power is you allowing yourself to be healed, because the power doesn't come from me. You see, it's the command I give to the angels to raise your vibration, to clear evil off, to balance your light and sound bodies, which is very important. I balance you in time and space. Okay, I remove negative energy fields. I restore the nature spirits to your organs, glands, limbs, and bodily systems. So yes, by all means, you can go a month, a year, a decade. And look, it's my goal. As I said, I have a relatively small profile now. And there are 7 billion people on the planet, and they all get sick, and I can't handle 7 billion. I can do maybe 10 to 15 healings a week. And so But the reality is I want to create a website, and I need a partner to do it, a partner meaning financial, but so that all these recordings, so people with cancer, people with evil spirits, people with curses, they can have recordings specifically focused on those as opposed to general purpose one, which I just did now. And then you just click on a button for free and get healed. And then I would just work on either the really down and out and the charity hospitals in various places in the world, or people who want to pay for my services one-on-one in private. But I would love to create a website that allows this to go on, and you could just literally play the recording, the healing process for whatever specific ailment you had, and be healed. It's very, very feasible, very possible. And the reality.
As somebody who does charity work, that's such a brilliant idea. I mean, that's so beautiful, and commend you for actually doing that. That's absolutely such a fabulous gift to give to the world as well.
Okay, so now
that's what I call working smart.
Listen closely. You love it. The listeners love it. Most people love it, Lisa. The medical associations and Big Pharma would hate it, and they control a lot of the media, and they would do everything they could to discredit me, so that, that people don't go, because obviously drugs, if that was effective, which it will be, obviously their sales, their business, their powers are going to get diminished. So don't expect to see a walk in the park.
No, but so worth it, and I'm sure the universe will support you in that journey as well. So we're going to speak to another caller, but thank you very much for calling up.
Thank you.
Thank you. Just a quick question, actually, Ed. One more about my own personal journey. I mean, I work a lot with my fabulous clients, and I end up, particularly when I work with my clients all day, actually feeling more energized and on a high vibration. But say, for example, I go out in the evening and perhaps go to a pub, catch up with some friends where people aren't perhaps at the same vibrational level as me. What I'm finding is the next day I'm actually feeling pretty drained. And obviously I don't want to stop my life and going out and doing that sort of stuff. So, is that quite a common thing as well? As you mentioned, I know you mentioned a little bit about that earlier, being, perhaps in toxic environments.
Well, yes and no. Look, if you can walk into a leper colony. I've been in AIDS orphanages where all these little babies had AIDS, and I hugged all of them. If you love thy fellow man truly at that highest vibration of love, you're immune and it won't affect you. Okay?
Right.
However,
okay. Yeah.
if you're less than that, it can easily drag you down. And so, and there's lots of, there's lots of energy vampires, lower vibrations, and so forth, which at the time will feel really good, but the next day or the next morning you'll feel really wiped out. And so, your energy can easily get drained, especially just from the artificial environments with all the electronics that, we're saturated with. Those things really affect our energy fields. So now I didn't get a chance to ask that previous caller, the gentleman, what he felt during the healing, but I'm curious on these next callers what they felt.
Absolutely. Let me put somebody through who's been actually waiting for quite a while there. Hi, you're through to Spiritual and Irritable and Ed Strachar. How are you today? Hello?
Well,
hello?
They're gone. Next caller.
No, what to say, that person's been waiting for a long, long time, so, please try it and call back up. Okay, let's try somebody else. Hi, you're through to Ed Strachar and Spiritual and Irritable. Hello? Hello?
Next caller.
Very strange. Okay, let's try again. Hello?
Hello, how are you?
Hey, hi, I'm good, thank you. You talk away to Ed.
So, Ed, I came in kind of on the back end, so I didn't get the whole healing. My question was, I've done Yun energy and theta healing, and I was wondering, how you're different. And one of my concerns is, that the healing, it works, but then it doesn't last. And I'm wondering, why do you always need a tune-up?
Well, I explained a lot of, and your first name is, by the way?
Trish.
Trish. Hi, Trish. Trish, I explained a lot of how this is different earlier in the show. So for the fairness of those who have listened, it wouldn't be helpful to repeat. But at the same point, the reality is cars need tune-ups. We always need showers, and our energy gets dirty. You don't wash a car once and then it's clean forever. It's not how it works. And so, after every client, I have to retune and re-clean my energy. Every client, okay? And if I don't, after 3 or 4 clients, I feel like a real muddy car. So, for me to be at my best and at my peak, I have to do that. That's just what happens. Every time I drive my car around the city and bring it back, no matter how shiny it was before I started, it's a little bit dirty. All right? That's just life. This is a constant process. And at the same time, depending on what kind of healing you're talking about, it sounds like you've been doing, and I mentioned before, these days there's 1,000 energy healers per square mile, and most of them have very little power. And I talked about power earlier, but healing power matters. And the reality is most healers have very little power, and most of them carry evil on them, because an energy healer working with one person who has an evil entity, if that evil entity has more power than the energy healer, which typically is the case, the evil entity goes in the energy field of this next healer. And then whoever that healer touches gets that evil entity. And, in fact, I recently bumped into a lady, and she told me she was a healer. Well, I measure her power, and on a scale of 0 to a million, where Jesus is a million, she had a power of about 150, which is a little better than most, but not much, and 150K, that is. Well, I also tested, and I said, you've got an evil entity. And she goes, oh, yeah, I know. I can't get it off. Well, anyone you touch and go to heal is going to get that entity, anyone you energetically connect to. And she almost kind of didn't want to hear that, because then her method of making money was gone. But at the same point, she went around healing. And I just see this all the time. And healers are often my best customers, because they get these energies on them, or they follow these false teachings. And one of the false teachings, I'll remind the audience again, is that there is no evil. This is a dramatically false teaching. And it is way evil often comes onto them. So with that, then, they're carrying this around, and everyone they touch, and I've seen many healers with lots of really pretty words and great philosophies, and, they've got evil on them. And sometimes the evil has no effect on them, and they're effectively a carrier. So, all they teach to and so forth then gets it. This is the reality of the world we live in. I see it all the time.
Where are you based? Yes, it does.
Yeah, well, I live in Florida, but all I rarely, I don't want to say never, but I rarely ever meet a client. In fact, oftentimes I never even talk to them on the phone. It's just by chat. I just need to connect to them energetically, and so a chat is fine, a text, occasionally a phone call, but honestly, if a person's got evil on them, I will not talk to them on the phone, because that just creates another channel for the evil to attack me. And as I mentioned earlier in the show, when I heal someone with evil, that evil will attack me, just like bank robbers will shoot at cops when cops come into the bank. So that's a very typical scenario here, and so I've got to be willing to risk my life at this whole time that I do this, but also I've got to be able to be of high enough vibration and energy to cleanse myself once I get that stuff on me. And that includes, may not call cancer evil, but I do, because it is trying to literally take the life of somebody, and that's not a good Samaritan by any shape, way, or form. And that cancer has a spirit, and so does, AIDS and all these other nasty diseases going around. And the reality is, if you're high enough vibration, you can be immune from these things. Not what the medical industry wants you to believe, but it's really true.
Beautiful. Okay. Does that answer your question at all?
Yes, and I was just wondering, are you going to give his contact information out at the end of the show, or?
Absolutely, no problem whatsoever.
It's Facebook.com/EdStrachar, and you came in late, but most of that has been covered. You can listen to the recording, which Lisa will post, and I'll post on my Facebook page as well. So thanks for calling.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Ed, we've got 2 quick callers left on the line. We've only got less than 5 minutes. So if we can get through these pretty quickly, that would be fabulous, and maybe get some sort of an idea, of how people are feeling after the healing that went on. So if we can just sort of keep it pretty snappy. Hi, you're through to Ed Strachar and Spiritual and Irritable. Who have we got on the line? Hello? Hello?
Mm-hmm. All right.
Okay. Let's try one more.
Hello, this is Steve. I called back because I'm listening on my phone.
Steve. Oh, yes, God bless you. That was really, that was really kind of you. Ed, you wanted to actually ask Steve how he felt about the healing, so please go ahead.
I would say I feel more contained because, like I said, over the weekend I've been feeling very weak, and I keep feeling a lot of energy around the crown area, like just shooting through the crown area.
Mm-hmm. Well, Steve, sometimes I do healings kind of like this, but oftentimes I do healings in group. I'll group 5 people together. And this is like 5 people on Facebook or chat, so not in a room. And, it's real interesting when I heal the 5 people. So one person with an alcohol problem, he feels it in his liver. One girl who's going through a breakup with her boyfriend, she feels it in her heart. Another person feels it in her head. Another person feels it in her digestive or sexual organs or wherever. It just goes to where you need it. And so I'd like you to elaborate. So you feel, did you say a bit calmer? Can you elaborate a bit?
I would say more contained, stronger, and like I said, I just feel energy, a warm energy around the crown area, right above right in the third eye area. But the thing that bothers me, because I do have an ego, and I rarely get sick. The last time I was really serious sick in 1993, it really bothers me that I'm feeling weak today. Yeah.
Let me explain to you a little bit more, and for the rest of you who are listening. What I did was I literally restored the spirits of your organs. So this energy, as opposed to caloric energy, which if you ate 10 candy bars, you'd feel caloric energy. This is not caloric energy. This is life force. It's a spirit, which means it grows. It's like planting a grass seed on your lawn. It starts growing, and it'll continue to grow unless you trash it. So the reality is you'll feel an hour after this call, you'll feel more life force. The energy will grow, but you'll still be able to sleep well. It's not going to keep you up. Now, let me just tell you this, too. Before you receive the healing, your level of vibration, and our body has a level of vibration. The level of vibration was about 35, which is low and very susceptible to illness. Your level of vibration now is about 47. Your level of vibration in about an hour will be about 55, okay? And if you read about the body's level of vibration, there's plenty of natural healing articles that talk about this. And it'll show things that lower the vibration, such as coffee, alcohol, eating dead animals, and certainly hate and anger, and evil. And the things that raise the vibration, which is eating, fresh, natural fruits and vegetables. Organic is higher vibration than regular. And as well, love and service for thy fellow man, raise your vibration. So, but just in this healing and getting the bad energy off you, is starting to raise your vibration. And in your language, you say more contained. Well, that's your language. And I'm really pleased to be able to help you. And you sound like a very intelligent and powerful person who my sense is going to be able to take what you learned here and really apply it to your community and the people around you. Is that right?
Yes, I've been told that many times, so that looks good.
Yeah, I get that. Hey, Steve, thanks for calling.
Excellent.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Great show.
Thank you very much. Okay, Ed, I can't thank you enough. I know we haven't had much of a chance to speak to people to find out the effect of that healing this afternoon, but I do recommend everybody actually checks out Ed's Facebook page because there's a huge amount of information on there, particularly from people who've had remote healings from him, and they talk about how they're feeling afterwards. I know myself is feeling fabulous. Ed, really sorry we're running out of time, but thank you so very much for being a guest on today's show. Thank you.
Lisa, really a pleasure. I really appreciate you coming forward. Say hello to all the beautiful people in Australia, America, and whoever else is here. Thank you.
Beautiful, and I'm sure I'll try and persuade you to come on the show again in the future. So thank you. That's a big thank you from Ed. My name is Lisa Phillips. I'm the host of the Spiritual and Irritable Show. If you'd like to know a little bit more, check out my Facebook page, either Spiritual and Irritable or Amazing Coaching. Had a great session today with Ed Strachar. Actually, I've been telling him the wrong name all the way through. But thank you so much for tuning in. If you've got any questions, please contact me on my Facebook page at Spiritual and Irritable. Lots of love and take care.